We should be good. Make sure y'all can hear me. That's it. All right. We should be good. Okay. Boom. We're live. Gosh dang. You know what? This whole thing, man, it turns into, when you think you got it down, then you, hold on, let me move my stuff over here. When you think you got it down and then you come to find out you don't have it down, it gets frustrating. Sorry, I'm all out of my sync here, but this is welcome to another episode of Mediocre Dads, where being mediocre is a choice. You have to refuse to be mediocre every single day. I'm your host, Quan. I go by Q, and as I've told y'all, guys, I'm trying to bring back these. I'm trying to get more into the live episodes, and so I really wanted to actually take this time to show y'all, or just kind of to get on here and then really just and just talk to y'all, because Andrew Tate was on the PBD podcast, and sorry, I'm trying to do something real here, Cook. I know some would say, "Oh, you can't do this. Why are you doing the video?" I know. Don't tell me, trust me. So Andrew Tate was on the PBD podcast, and on the PBD podcast, he was talking. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he was talking crazy. I think he. Okay, well, I say he's talking crazy. I think there's a lot of things that he says that is crazy. But I will caveat that with, I do think there's some sense. There's some logic to what he says, and I know for some of y'all, you don't like Andrew Tate. You'll be like, "Oh, Andrew Tate this, Andrew Tate that." But I'll be honest with y'all. Again, some of the things he says, there's some sense to it, and not everyone's gonna agree. I know they're not. I know you're not all gonna agree with the sense. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do this thing real quick because things can get freaking dicey over here. Not everyone will agree that Andrew Tate is this stand-up guy. And I'm not going to say he's stand-up. I'll be very frank with you guys. I don't think he's a stand-up guy. But I will say, again, some of the things that he was talking about, some of the things he brought up on the podcast, I think that makes sense. So I'm going to start here at there's the 51 minute mark. I have some notes here. See me looking down? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the, it's doing this ad. So hold on. Can't hear yet. 51. You got to be very precise with this thing. Okay, so the point where I'm going to start it at is Adam, that guy who's on the screen right there. His name's Adam. So Adam is asking him a question, and again, I think it's one of these questions that a lot of people would ask Andrew Tate, but he's asking him a question, and I think it's a good question, and I want you to hear his response, because I think you guys would be surprised by his response. And this is, again, I've never heard him say it, but I think when I heard him say this, I was fairly surprised, and because I was like, oh, I would never expect him to say this. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for y'all.
They're marrying their high school sweetheart, one woman, have sex with one woman, that's who you marry. Where you're viewed as a womanizer, and you proudly said this.
I wish.
But yet Elon Musk gets a pass.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I did a long 30-minute video on this exact subject, but I want to talk about this. In fact, let me put my sunglasses back on, because
and by the way,
I want to look cool. Let me look cool.
Damn.
I wish I could meet one woman in high school and fall in love with her. I wish I could. That sounds like a blessing, and I support them absolutely. But I didn't. I grew up a different way, and I didn't. And truthfully, I have a different worldview. Now, we can go down this whole conversation, perhaps we should, but I did a long 30-minute video on Elon and his recent baby drama. And I was explaining that all the people who are insulting Elon don't seem to understand that at his economic bracket and at his capability and at his mental, with his challenges that he's facing.
Okay, so I wanted y'all to hear that. So I have been baffled by the things that Andrew Tate has said in a lot of ways and with a lot of things, and to hear him talk about how he wishes he could have met the woman in high school, one good woman in high school, and then boom, been with her, and she was the girl that he was going to be with. It baffled me because I have always held this belief when I heard him talk and when, certain videos, certain things, it's always this quick to say, well, this is the lifestyle I want. This is the lifestyle I want. This is the lifestyle I want. This is what I like. This is what I like. This is what I like. And, it always baffled me to say, well, it sounds like maybe, you haven't found that the person or that one person who you can, not settle down with and truthfully create a life with. Because I think Andrew Tate married and core and is strong in his core beliefs. I believe he's one of the most influential people out there. And but if he had the Christian beliefs and he had the one woman, it would be like I said, I think he'd be a force to reckon with. I think he'd be a person that a lot of people would want to listen to. A lot of people would say, okay, let me know more about this guy. I want to know who this guy is, and I want to kind of understand him and all these things. So I think he would have been a guy. I think he's a guy that a lot of people would I don't say fall in love with, but would say, hey, no, this guy knows what's up and knows what he's talking about. Again, shocked to hear him say that. Shocked to hear him come out and say, hey, can we marry one woman? But I'm interested to hear more or less what your guys' opinion is on this, and hear him say that. Because anybody who knows Top G, right, or Andrew Tate, you associate automatically with, okay, this guy's not gonna. He's a monogamous. What is it? What do they call him? What do women call him? He hates women. He's toxic masculinity. But again, a lot of the things that he says and he helps young men, really truthfully do help them, and it's to their benefit. And some of these young men, they do need it. They truthfully do need that. How do you put this? How do I put this? They need that push in the right direction. They need that mentorship, that guidance. And in some regards, I think he's the guy for it. In other regards, I don't think he's the guy for it. I think he pushes people. I think he kind of pushes people in the wrong direction. And so again, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. I hear him say that because I don't think this podcast, like him on this podcast, got enough attention or not brought attention. I know what got more attention was the simple fact that him and Tristan flew back from Romania and they were Florida, and then I think the AG in Florida was talking about charging them. They go over in this episode, PD podcast episode. But again, one woman, Andrew Tate with one woman. Could y'all imagine that? Andrew Tate, one woman. And I want to talk about Elon Musk. I do. I think I'll get into Elon Musk a little bit after this because I do got some articles I want to go over with when it comes to Elon Musk. But let's go to the next chapter or the next point here, and that was the hour and 4 mark, where he was again surprising on a lot of things that he says. Now I don't agree with everything he says, but There's some things. So let's go ahead. Oh jeez, no YouTube. Gotta play the ads. Okay, come on, Ed. Be done. Okay, some more ads. With him. Okay, there we go. What's this?
CV.
I sense of that.
I would argue on the same. But I'm also a full-grown man, the mission complete. I have lots to do. And sometimes I cannot be staying at home with the kid, playing kid things, because I have to do big, important things. And my son will call me after he's finished karate and he's beat some kid's ass, and I'll say, good job, you're living up to Tate name. Now I have to go beat prosecutor's ass. We're warriors, and I'll see you in 2 days. The jet will be waiting. See you soon, son. And everyone's going to attack me and insult me, and that's fine. But is that very interesting, what your father said about who the man you are today, right? Can't you judge by results? Isn't that how we're supposed to operate anyway? The whole scientific method is you do X, Y, Z. What is the outcome? So your father did what he did to make you who you are. I saw my father about the same, and I am who I am. And
Okay. He says a lot there. And I think as a father, as a man, your mission should be to take care of your kids. Your mission should be, your priority should be your kids. And so, so for me personally, a lot of questions were answered in this podcast. And because when, I don't listen to him often. I don't listen to Andrew Tate too much. I do think some of his interviews with certain people are intriguing, and they do definitely warrant my interest, and and I definitely look and watch. But I don't think that a lot of what I don't agree with a lot of what he says and how he says these things. He says these things, and you're just like, yo, what? Like, dang, man, what are you talking about? But to hear him say, hey, like his priority is his kids, that should be every priority for a father. And, he has the ability to provide for his family. He has the very fortunate ability that he can provide for his family in a way that some of us are not able to do. Right? He's very wealthy. He has a lot of money. He's able to put his kids on a private jet. He's able to do these things where he can see that they come see him. And he does it. And his kids, like he said, his kids cry or whatever, and then beat some kids up. I don't know about having your kids go beat up other kids just for the heck of it because they're upset. I think that's a mismanagement of your emotions. And you should, if you're going to do, you should learn how to manage your emotions. Again, I think emotional intelligence is essential, especially when raising men, or boys, and especially when they become men. But I think that is an essential thing right there. What we're talking about is, emotional intelligence. So, but he said something to me that stuck out, and that was the Tate name. Fathers, you'll understand this. Women, maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know, but I know predominantly this is a more masculine thing, or more manly, a man thing. A father thing is we procreate, we get married, we procreate, whatever the case may be, and however you do it in your order, right? But I know how I do my order. But we, and then we want to have a son because we want someone to carry on their lineage. A son, that's what sons do. They carry on the lineage of, they carry your lineage, they carry your family, the family name. They keep the name known. They keep what is known as the Tate name, or in his case, or the Wilcox name. In my case, right? We keep it going, and it means so much. Like, I don't know what it was, or when I knew it was that I was like, you know what? I want a son, or I want sons, because I need someone to care. I want my son to carry my name, but I knew I wanted him to carry my name. And so when I found out I was having a son, I was super excited because I was like, okay, my lineage doesn't end here. And, I was adopted. So I have, I do have a previous name, but a name that I don't carry on, right? Because truthfully, it's, this name, the Wilcox name, the family that raised me, the family that gave me the things that I needed, everything that to make me who I am, the man I am today. That's the name that I want to carry on. That's the name I'll carry on. And so I think when my kids are born, that's the name. Obviously, that's the name I want them to carry on as well. And so I can relate to that. And I think every man can relate to that. Is the simple fact of like, hey, I want a son because he carries the Wilcox name, and insert your last name here, right? And when you carry that name, it means something, right? Because it means something to me, it should mean something to my son. And when you raise your kids with values and morals and ethics, right? And you see okay, so for example, he pointed out, right, with PBD and his dad, or how Tate was raised him, and how PBD raised his dad, raised him. You can see the after effects. These are two gentlemen right here who are making, I believe, both millions of dollars. Right? I won't say millions. I don't know, but they're making a lot of money. They're very wealthy, doing very well for themselves. And at the time when they were growing up, some would say like, "Oh my gosh, they have a rough childhood, or their parents are rough, or whatever the case may be." But look at what happened, right? Now you may agree with them ideology, or their ideology and their way of thinking, or how their beliefs, what they do, and whatever the case may be. That's fine. You can disagree with that all day. But what you can't take away from the fact is wealthy individuals. And I don't think I'll say this. Okay, life is in the end is not about wealth. It's not about how much money you have in the end when it's all said and done. That's not what it's about. But obviously, how we measure success within our society is through money, through finances, and how much money an individual has. And again, these two individuals have a lot of money. So when I sit here and I hear what he's saying and kind of have an understanding, and I can relate to it, in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, he might be onto something, right? He might be onto something because, again, the results are speaking for themselves. Now, I won't get into the legality case, because I don't know too much about it. I mean, that's not my place to say anything about. I don't know anything really what's going on, but there was a point. I don't know if he came out with this. So maybe he did. Maybe it was him. I don't know where the stat came from, but he was the most, what was it? The most Googled person, in the world. And, that's not easy to do. Okay. So that's not an easy thing to do, to say, hey, people are Googling your name, and then you're the most Googled name. I don't know if it was for a day or for a certain time period, whatever it was, but like, he has influence. And I think a lot of us want the same influence that he has, but obviously doing it differently. But again, you can't take away, you whole picture, sure, whatever, it is what it is. Again, personally, I think for a lot of things he says, they make sense, but there are some other things he says that I'm like, okay, you're just trying to, it's almost like attention grabbers. That's what I think. That's what he's doing. But again, when he's talking about his sons, when he's talking about how he's raising his kids, when he's talking about the responsibility of his kids, of what he has to his kids, I get that. I'm a father. I understand that. He has daughters as well. And the next video where I'm actually going to cover is going to be about his daughters, where he's talking about his daughters. But like, again, I get that. I can resonate with that. And I think so many of us fathers can resonate with that as well. But it's ridiculous that we can be shamed for something simple as saying like, hey, I think this guy's onto something. I think he's right. There's something he's building connect. He has this connection that if I were at his level, I would do the same. Maybe not everything the same, but like in the sense of like, hey, like I gotta work. I've gotta make more money. I gotta be able to provide for you. I provided you with this lifestyle, and that I like, that you like, and for me, my wife likes. And in order for us to maintain that lifestyle, I have to do more. And so it doesn't mean I don't want to take time from you. But he doesn't say it here, but I think later on, maybe it's later on. And if it's not, it's fine. But one of the things that he says, that he talks about, is, time is obviously important for your kids, right? The time that you have, the time that you spend with your kids, that's important. But he prioritizes quality over quantity. And I think a lot of parents get confused with, well, if I have more time with you, then that will make up for the lack of the time that I spent with you. When actually, what gets there was quality. What I mean by that is, if you hang out with your kid for 10 minutes a day, but within that 10 minutes, you're devoted, your dedication, your attention is 100% on them, playing the Barbies, playing the board game, whatever it is, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever, insert random ridiculous number here, whatever you want to call it. But when you do that, your kids will remember that, and they'll forget, and not in a bad thing because it doesn't really resonate with them, but they won't remember the times you weren't there. I've said this several times before, guys. My dad is a pilot, and he was, when I was in high school or middle school and high school, especially in high school, he was flying all the time. And I played basketball, my brother played football, but my dad made it to almost every single game. I don't remember the games he didn't make it to. I remember the games that he did make it to. I remember the games where they were super far, and he showed up, and he made a point to say, "I'm going to show up because you're important. I want to show my support," and he would. And I was like, "Holy crap!" He just got off of work, and here he is, willing to drive all the way over here and spend time with me and watch me play. In my senior year, I'll never forget. I was barely playing, guys. Like, please understand this. Like, I was not playing. I wasn't playing a lot. You know, like I was just I was more or less benched because I cussed my coach out. So, you know, that's the results of a poor decision making. But it doesn't change the fact that my dad was there. He showed up knowing that, hey, my son's probably potentially not going to play, and he still showed up, and like that meant something to me. And those are the memories that are seared into my brain when I think of what my dad did and how much the value that my dad brought to me and to my family, or to as a father overall, is he was there. He was there. And you can't take that. I can't take that away from him. Never would take that from him. And so when I look at someone like Andrew Tate and he talks about how being there and quality time, I'm like, that makes sense. That's what it's about. That is what this fatherhood journey, this whole fatherhood thing, that's what this is about. That's what our kids want from us. Oh, man, I love being a dad. Being a dad is the greatest thing in the world. And he said it, being a dad is the greatest thing. Oh, man. Guys, I know. He's enemy number one. But like, you know, I think, you know, on a lot of things, he's on to something. And I think he's changed. He has changed. And I think that's a good thing for obviously for, what's the word I'm looking for? For those who, you know, who think he's whatever, but he has changed, right? And I think he's grown in a lot of ways. Especially, I think prison changes you. So, but let's go back to this. I think I'm going to show you guys this because he talks about. Pewdie asked him. So I'll give you context. Pewdie asked him about his daughters, and I think this is important here because again, content it gives you insight into someone, a person that we have a lot of people have made assumptions about. Okay. Well, that's annoying. So he asked, what do you think you owe your kids? Hold on. I don't know what you're. Okay, so before I let him get into this next question, let's talk about what he just talked about, what he just said there, right? And that is the fact that when a man has daughters, we may be wolves or lions, whatever animal you want to correlate it to, right? We may be those things and have that capability to be vicious, to be mean, or whatever the case might be. But I think he hit the nail on the head, and I've said this before. And the fact is, when it comes to my daughters, man, my wife thinks I fold every single time when it comes to my daughters, and I do, because, you know, okay, you want to go outside and ride your bike, sure, let's go outside and ride your bike. I don't think we have time for this right now, but like, you know, like fine, let's go out ride your bike. I'm a softie. My wife was like, hey, you know, I said no, they can have ice cream. I'm like, I like ice cream. We're gonna go get ice cream. You know, obviously I'll go get ice cream, but I'm a softie when it comes to my daughters. And I think a lot of men, a lot of fathers, we are all that way. We're these big softies when it comes to our kids or our daughters. But when it's because we want to preserve it's about preserving their innocence. I said this on a podcast before, on a previous episode. I treat my daughters. I'm tough with my daughters in a lot of ways, but I'm not tough with my daughters as tough as I will be with my son, because the world is forgiving when it comes to girls, when it comes to women. The world's very forgiving and is all about giving second, third, fourth chances to women. But when it comes to men, you don't have a lot of chances, and if you do get multiple chances, it's hard. If you do get more than one chance, and which I think we all get more than one chance in a lot of ways, and depending how you gauge your success or failure. But for men, the world's very unforgiving for us, where it can be at times we fail, and everything you do is a failure. Now all you are seen as is a failure. There's no other thing wrapped around the fact of other factor that other than you are a failure. But the 10, 15 good things that you did up to this point, well, they don't matter because you're ultimately a failure. And so, I want to preserve my daughter's innocence as long as possible, but I also want to. It's do? Are you going to fall prey to what people around you are saying and what are saying about you, or are you going to allow yourself to get back up and say, okay, I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to get back into the fight. I'm ready to, I'm ready to do that. That to me is what's important. And trying to, it's almost like you're trying to save them. It's almost, here's how I look at it. And I'll be very honest with you guys and how I look at it. I look at it as I'm trying to save my son or teach my son how to swim with sharks before he drowns. That is how I see it. And, hold on. Oh, no. I don't want y'all to see that just yet. We're going to get back to it, don't worry. But it's like I'm teaching my kids how to swim with sharks. That's what I'm teaching them, And when I'm teaching them how to swim with sharks, it's a matter of, hey, the shark might bite you, but if he does, you need to be prepared for how to react and how to respond. And so that is what I'm teaching my son, whereas I'm teaching my daughter is like, hey, this is a pool. This is a water full of sharks. However, if you stay over here, you might experience some of the sharks, but you won't experience all the sharks. And if you ever get to a point where you're experiencing too many sharks, you can call on dad. You can call on your brother. You can call on, hopefully at that point, by however old she is, right? Call on your husband, and he, if I allowed him to marry my daughter, then I trust that he has the ability to take care of her, protect her, and do what I would do in any situation. Maybe not the same exact way, but be able to do what I would do and handle and protect her as if it were me there protecting her myself. So that is my level of expectation. I think that's a level of expectation for any father-in-law. When I married my wife, and again, kind of towards the video beginning, the first part of the section of the video I showed. I got married out of high school. I married my high school sweetheart. I met my wife in 6th grade. Many of you know the story. I met my wife in 6th grade, and then we started dating in 2011, and bumps and bruises. High school, whatever, drama, all that stuff, a bunch of stuff. And fast forward to 2014, I asked her to marry me. And she says yes. She's still in high school, guys. So she has like 2 months left. I think she had like a month and a half left of high school until she graduated. So she's walking around high school with an engagement ring. People are like, "Are you engaged?" And she's like, "Yeah." And keep in mind, they know me, right? They know me. They know they know the Wilcox twins. Me, being a twin, identical twin. They know who we are, and so like they knew because they knew that she was with me, and so it was like, you're engaged to Quan, and it's like, yeah, like that's who I'm like. So it was the disbelief and the shock of like, you're engaged to one of these dudes. What he's doing? He's in the Army, right? So like I married her young, but we've been together for so long, guys. Like my wife is my everything, and I don't remember why exactly I was bringing that up. I think it was I know I had something to do with it. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, but I wanted to bring up that point where we met in high school. Anyway, let's go back here and let's talk about the daughters again. I think this is a big deal. Let's talk about the daughters. So just tune in and listen to this. I disagree with that. we'll look into the Devin Erickson guy in a second. So again, this is again. So like I said in the beginning, guys, where this is the part for me where it starts getting into the realm of just like I don't think he's really thinking about what he's maybe genuinely about this, and this is how he genuinely feels on the issue. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not
finds text messages. She finds out he's got a handful of girls on the side.
Right?
Yep.
You
find out through your guys who run the clubs that they report, because people are going to, guys like us, we're going to be reported back. Everything's coming back to us.
You
find out
her husband
he's hooked up with 3, 4, 5 girls on the side.
Then why does he? Why? What is the thing that is causing them? For him to have to feel the need to go out and sleep with other women? That is my question. That's the thing that bothers me about that statement, about what he said, is if all those other things are being done, taken care of, right? What is their actual relationship like? And do they have a good relationship? Because if they don't have a good relationship, then that means then obviously something else needs to be happening. But that does not give him free reign to go out and say, well, hey, I'm going to just, I'm just gonna do whatever I want and act like I do whatever I want. Like, there's no consequences to that. And so I think, again, this is what I'm talking about. I think sometimes we forget there are consequences to our actions, and in a lot of ways, there are consequences for me. There are not necessarily for me, but I think the thing I don't understand the most is he's doing all the things that he should do as a man. Now, is she doing what she's to do as a woman? And if she wants to come talk to Dad, we can. But I would be honestly directing my daughter to my wife. Say, hey, you need to talk to your mom about this. This is a conversation you and your mom need to have, because there's an understanding that as a man that I have, and as being the father and in the head of the household, there's an understanding that I have that your mom. That I have that is probably wrong, or I won't say wrong, but it's not the view that you should get. It's the view you should get, the view of your mom, from your mom, and then if you want my input after talking to your mom, then we can talk about it. But again, I'm going to stress this, guys. I think that the biggest thing here is going to be the fact that both people should be doing the right thing. And okay, so on the Bible study, which tune in tomorrow to the Bible study. If you we'll be going live at 7, so tune into the Bible study, catch us out there doing things, and doing a live episode. But if you've caught the episode, which I'll probably include it in the description below or something, but if you caught that episode where we talked about marriage, or even talked about on Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day episode was on February 13th, I think it was. So go check that episode out. We talked about this, how men are supposed to treat their wives and how women are supposed to treat their husbands. And men are to love their wives like Christ loved the church, and a man who loves himself, loves his wife like himself. What is it? Something. No, I don't remember. Is it Galatians? I think it's Galatians. There's Galatians. Maybe it's not Galatians. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna look it up here. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, Ephesians. Okay, fine. Okay. Since love the wives as they love their own, but for a man who okay, so this is what I want to lead. So So we have, and I read this in before, but it says, for wives, this means submit to your husbands as the Lord, for the husband is the head of his wife, as Christ is the head of the church. He's the Savior of his body, the church, and the church submits to Christ. So you wives should submit to your husbands in everything. For husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her, to make her holy and clean, washed by the cleansing of God's word. He did this to present her to himself as a glorious church without a spot or wrinkle or any other blemish. Instead, she will be holy and without fault. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself. No one hates his own body, but feeds and cares for it, just as Christ cares for the church, and we are members of his body. This, to me, that's a big thing right there. That is a big deal, is when we're talking about is men to love themselves. If you love your wife, that shows that you love yourself. And I think a lot of men, we don't love ourselves. But when we show we love our wives, and the scripture outlines that we're able to, by us showing we love our wives, it's a parallel to how we can love ourselves. Gosh, that's powerful. And again, what I'm saying here is, there's come to the relationship when it comes to marriage and it comes to this aspect of, right? I think here in this picture, guys, I think the big thing here is that the fact is we have to, it takes two to tango. It takes two to be in this relationship, and two people have to commit to it. Two people have to want to be in the relationship. Two people have to figure out what that looks like, especially when you your family starts to grow, whether it's with the family, with the kids, you have to work at it. And so for me, when I listen to Andrew Tate and a lot of things, again, there are some aspects of what he says that I agree with, but then a bigger picture, grander scheme, there are other things I'm just like, I can't get behind that, right? Because that's not one, these are not teachings. I was thinking about this earlier. A lot of what Andrew Tate says, right? There's wisdom of man, and there's wisdom of God, right? Biblical wisdom is probably a little more accurate what I'm referring here. And as followers of Christ, we need to seek Christ. We need to seek his wisdom, biblical wisdom that is taught to us in the word. And then obviously, and then through prayer and through and getting into the Lord's presence, hearing what the Lord has to say for us, right? Or wants what his will is for us in our lives, and how he wants to go about our day, whatever it is, right? Whatever we're praying about, how we're going about it. But it's the living for the Lord's will, not for our will. But the wisdom ultimately comes from the Lord, not from us. Solomon, the wisest king, when he talked to God, when he asked God, he only talked to God 2 times, right? The first time was when God asked him, what is it that he wanted? The second time was when he wasn't living how he should be living, and what was his consequences for falling for victim to these other wives and all these things. But that first time that he talked to him, he said, because you asked for discernment and wisdom between good and evil and how to raise, and you realize that no one man can be responsible for my people, for my group of people, the Israelites at the time, and it's such magnitude and such a responsibility. And because he had that realization, that wisdom already there, he said, I'm going to grant you with wisdom, and I'm going to give you everything else. So, while Andrew Tate is an intellectual, there's a lot of he has a lot of intelligence. He's a very intellectual man. I'm sorry, but I think he has a lot of worldly wisdom, and he speaks from a lot of his experiences rather than biblical wisdom. When he starts speaking about from biblical wisdom, you'll be able to tell, but 2, I think a lot of what he's saying and how he delivers his message and how he speaks, it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to want to listen. So I think it's one of those things where he's one of those people who he just needs to get right back on the path. And I wish he was back on the path of Christianity, back into Christianity. I think that conversation he had with Candace Owens about the Christians and whatnot, I understand. Because Christians can be very fickle people, and we contradictions and hypocrisy are hypocrites. It's what most people know Christians or associate with Christians as, right? But I want to tell people, and I don't want people to forget that when you go to church, or when you're talking with someone who claims to be a Christian, now that's a whole other conversation with itself. But when you're talking to these individuals, do not forget that these are still individuals who are still seeking God, right? They're imperfect people still hopefully seeking the God's grace, right? And how to grow in that spiritual relationship with Christ. We can't forget that, right? Because I'm not a perfect person, and I might go to church. I don't know. Just to give an example, I might be having a bad day, right? And I go to church, and I don't smile like I usually do, and people are just like, oh, he's just rude, blase, blase. Or I could be having a bad day, but people won't ask, whatever the case may be, go down the whole rabbit hole. In the end, right, what it comes out to is people are like, oh, well, people at church are just rude. And it's just like, no, you don't know what that person has going on. Imperfect people, we're all imperfect people, right? All have fallen short of the glory of God, right? And so like we should, while we strive for perfection, we will never reach perfection. The only one who is perfect, who was perfect and is perfect, is Jesus Christ. And so unfortunately, we'll never reach that perfection, but it does not mean we don't strive for that perfection, because the closer we can get to perfection, if you will, and I do that, the quotes for a reason, I'll explain in a second, but the closer we can get to perfection, the closer we can get to God. And so when I say perfection, you'll never reach it. It's not obtainable except through Christ. And here's the thing, that you won't obtain that perfection until your second death. And guys, I know I'm preaching at this point now, but like I'm telling y'all, is we stop expecting man or humans to be perfect beings, right? Oh, they say they're in the church, but they're not perfect. So now this is a real reason I want to leave church. I believe if you never wanted to be, if you were looking for a reason to get out of the church in the first place, or not be in the faith in the first place, you never wanted to be there. So guess what? You were looking for a reason to get out, and you were looking for an excuse to say, hey, this is why can't be a Christian. This is why I can't be. And so I think Kanye, I was even thinking about this when it comes to Kanye West. I think a lot of Christians, how quickly we turned on someone who was trying to get back, who was trying to figure out what that faith, what being a Christian meant, and that faith was like. But so many people just attacked him. And don't get me wrong. Me and James have talked about all these topics before. We've talked about this before. There's such a thing as righteously rebuking someone, but they have to be in the faith. And when you do that, you do it first. You do it first among other Christians, right? You don't do it out in the open, but so many people on social media doing it out in the open. And even with Andrew Tate, right, this is what people were doing. And so, I'm not trying to say, hey, get in the fold, so because we need more people like them to whatever, because I don't know. I'm not trying to sell Christianity in that sense. But what I am trying to do, and I'm trying to make you guys understand, is, and James talks about this verse all the time. I'm not going to quote it per se, but it's talking about the fields. There's the fields are, what is it? No, hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Not enough. Let's see what it was. It says those who have ears hear. I can't figure what. I can't find it. Let's see. The sowers are few. I know. Just the servers, their bullshits. First the day, sowers, reapers receive. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully this is what I was looking for. Let's see. I can't find it. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. My point is there are a lot of people out there, not enough Christians willing to go out there and help spread the good news, spread the gospel. That's the essence of what I'm trying to get. And I think in the end, there's a lot of people who claim to be Christian, but they're not actually Christian because they don't walk. A Christian walk is not what that which is prescribed to us in the Bible. And I know a lot of people who tell me I'm a Christian because they went to church growing up, and they committed their life to Jesus at one point. But then their lifestyle, the way they live, and the way they show me how they don't do, they don't do the little things, but ultimately their lifestyle, what they put on display for people to see is nothing Christ-like or nothing close to it. And so it's just a title. It's just like a badge of honor to be cool for a lot of people. And I think ultimately those people, I pray that those people get back into their faith and really understand what it means to be a Christian. I'm not perfect by any means, but I also think that, but I also pray that God that he just changes me from the inside. So I can, when I do get on here and I do start talking to you guys and we're talking about the faith and we're talking about Christianity, talking about Christ, I can give it to you in a way, deliver it to you in a way that you guys, one, understand, but two, where God just softens your heart and he opens that door, or you open that door, but he softens your heart, you open that door and you allow him to enter and he sits with you and dines with you. And he says, I've been waiting for you to open. I've been waiting for you to come seek me because I have so many things for you that I just want a relationship with you. And that's all it's all about, guys. So, that's all I got. Hey guys, it's been a really freaking fun. I love doing this. These lives are going to be doing more, and I apologize. The lives, I promise, I get these down. I will get these down. They are a pain in the freaking butt. I don't know what's going on. I had it all set up yesterday. I was ready to go yesterday, but due to putting the kids to sleep, so I wasn't able to do it. But anyway, guys, tomorrow we're going live at 7. So don't miss it. Going live at 7, me and James to talk more about the sins of the flesh, or the fruits of the flesh, and as we start delving into the fruits of the Spirit. But don't miss it. Join us tomorrow at 7 for a live episode. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be really fun. It's again, I think you guys will really enjoy it. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to this channel. If you're a returning viewer, share this channel with your friends. We appreciate you stopping by. It means a lot to us. Thank you guys. I really do mean you guys stopping by watching. And of course, go check out the mediocredads.net website. Go get the merch. If you can find out more information about me, Mediocre Dads, what we're doing, things that are coming up. But you guys go check it out, the website. Follow us on Instagram. And again, guys, it's been a blast. Being mediocre is a choice, and you have to refuse to be mediocre every single day. That is all I got for you guys. I will catch y'all later. Mediocre Dads out.